is diagnosed with ADHD, and he's suffering in school and has a hard time. So I don't mean anything that I'm about to say, I don't mean it lightly at all. But I think it's important to achieve a deeper state of freedom, to acknowledge that attention deficit is the norm in our world. 20 years ago, the average attention span was of 12 seconds. That is the amount of time your brain is really focused on something. So the average was 12 seconds. Now, after having our phones and all our screens and being invaded by information all the time, and the attention span is 8 seconds. That's the average. So we're going little by little in the direction of everybody literally having attention deficit disorder. And whether you understand it as something genetic or something that you put this label, or there is this, I see all these people having these heated conversations on the topic, I want to bring a practical approach to it. So whether you're starting from a point where you cannot manage to have a normal life, or you just have a normal life, there's a lot for you in the topic of training your attention. And meditation is exactly the art of, at least initially, it is the art of resting your attention on a chosen object for as long as you decide to. And I want to bring this part of the conversation because most people are not aware of their potential. Most people just assume that you have to be distracted all the time. But the truth is that if you will spend long enough, patiently, bring your attention back to the object. And in meditation, you can use any part of your body. You can use your breath. You can use just a sensory experience of here and now. You can use an image. You can use a mantra. Whatever it is you decide to choose. You just make the conscious decision to stick perceiving that object for as much as you can. And what you're going to find out is that maybe the first stretch, sometimes people just, it goes well because they're actually forcing. That's something we all do in the beginning. But after a while, you will notice, okay, this is a very frustrating task because I should be just paying attention to this. And I notice that my mind is just all the time going away. Well, as uncomfortable that may look at first, it's a very important step. It's like the first step in when someone is in recovery from addiction. The first step is to acknowledging you have a problem. And most people, I don't think they acknowledge how deep this problem is for everybody. Of course, some people suffer it more intensively, but really, I want to say that no, that's actually the case. And for anyone watching this video that you don't think you don't have attention deficit, then just try to hold your attention on your breath exclusively without getting lost in thought. And let's see how far it goes. And please don't. I know some of you can do it. You don't need to tell me, but you can absolutely write on the comment and share the celebration of how much. But I'm pretty sure that if you're able to stay for a few minutes at least or something like that, you have trained for it and you have deliberately chosen to train that. The reason why that's a positive thing is because normally the topic of attention deficit, especially in ADHD and ADD, it is normally seen as something that is like you are a victim of an illness outside of yourself, whether genetic or not. And obviously, I don't think, although I respect the fact that some people take medication, and that could be right sometimes, but I hope nobody takes that as the final solution for it. And that is just a patch. That's actually, many times it's drugs. Like you wouldn't be able to travel to different countries with that. So it's not like an aspirin, let's say. And I think hopefully advised by a competent doctor that could be applied in the right way and could be of help, but that's not actually the way you would really you will get to the root of the problem. So whether you think you are all over the place or whether you think you are just normal, but are, you maybe think that you're not special enough to be great at anything, or just the regular suffering of feeling that you're not good enough for anything. If that's the case, or any case of suffering, actually, I'm here to tell you that you have the path very clear in front of you. And you may not like to do it in the beginning. It may feel like cleaning the basement or doing this task. It's not meditation. It's not necessarily just to go on a trance and touch upon ecstatic feelings. That definitely happens, but it's not the goal. So I would like to see you as meditation as a training, like you would do with your body. Do the same with your attention. And the way you do about this, I'm just trying to be specific, so anyone listening to this video who don't have a strict procedure on how to train your attention, at least you can start with this. Just actually focusing on the breath has been proven one of the most universal and useful ways of approaching this topic. So for anyone trying, this is just a suggestion, you could just close your eyes, focus on your breath, and let's do it. So you relax your body, let go everything. You can do a warm up instead of letting go of your day, letting go of your regular gear, and just rest a little bit into what it is. And then as you feel relaxed, you will notice that you have a bit more attention, and you redirect that attention to the sensations of the breath in your nostrils. Alternatively, some people will bring it to the movement of your belly. That's a legit way of doing it too. But let's say you take the sensations of the breath through the nostrils. So just decide that you want to stay with that simple experience that you're having always, actually. You want just to rest your attention in this simple perception. Be curious about it. And any thought that comes and crosses by is an extra activity you don't need to do. You are just resting your attention in a more primordial experience of here and now. Whether you know it or not, your brain is always speaking that information if you have that sensitivity of breath through the nostrils. So it's not an effort. It's not something you should force to concentrate. It's more like you just open to notice something that is obviously here all the time. So that relaxes your mind. So you nakedly, moment by moment, notice the simple and yet profound experience of the breath through the nostrils. And well, we could do this very long, but for the sake of timing, I just want to give you a brief example on how it's not a concentration exercise, like you will force your attention by trying to push it back. It is more like resting, because, for example, in this case of noticing the breath through your nostrils, it is happening all the time. It is happening right now, even when you're distracted, and your brain is picking up. So for your brain, it's not an effort to notice that. So it could be considered a most essential activity for your survival, for you being here, your brain understanding if you're breathing or not through the nostrils. And what you're doing is, every time a compulsive habit of thought that is not really something that you constantly decide to pursue comes, you free yourself from it by letting it go and resting your attention back into in this case, the sensation of the breath through the nostrils, which is pretty much close to effortless. It's just like being here, just like almost like falling asleep. You're just not doing anything especially. So there is this great freedom from the compulsive thinking, from distraction. And if you do this, and there are stages, if you want me to point, for example, The Mind Illuminated by Chuladasa. It's a great book on the topic with neuroscience. But one of my favorites is actually The Attention Revolution by Alan Wallace. It's just interesting read. But basically in there, they describe a process, a tradition on studying how to train attention. This has been going on for 1.6, like 16 centuries, more or less, that this has been written already, has been practiced for way, way longer than that. But talking specifically of this rigorous study on how to develop and how to train your attention, that's in the Buddhist path. But you could do it by any other. But these people know very well what they're doing, so it's really worth it. Rather than, I will definitely, with all the respect, psychology is very new compared to these traditions and haven't been tested so much and so rigorously. So I still trust way more the old school, because have been more proven and more developed over time. But please do, if you find any attention training online or by any psychology training of any kind, please go for it. Just do it. I'm just emphasizing the fact that it couldn't not just go to a normal extent, but you could just bring it to incredible extent. And just to close up with this topic, something very important happens when you are able, by training, by releasing, by detoxing your mind from unconscious patterns. When you're able to rest for very long times on an object, someone would say, what's the value of that? Well, first thing, if you do it, you will know right away. I mean, you're peaceful, you're clear, your whole nervous system feel energized. So it's incredibly beneficial and rewarding to do so. But there is even a bigger opportunity and a bigger reason why to do this. And it's because, and I'm just going to say some statistic average, if you would be able to effortlessly rest your attention on a given object or experience for, I will personally say something like 1 hour without glitches, really. I mean, you can definitely have some here and there, but I'm talking about like seriously, like fully experiencing for long periods of time. You will right away notice the calm. Your mind becomes incredibly peaceful. And what is most fascinating is what happens afterwards. Because when your mind becomes peaceful and you are not conditioning your perception of this moment, as some sort of remembrance happen. You start recognizing that actually your pure essence of being here, it is actually joyful. Even more, if you indulge in this liberating letting go, you will, at some point, you get to recognize that's actually the sensation you're going after in everything we do in life, in our goals and all our dreams. It's just we don't recognize that actually you don't get that satisfaction by pursuing goals, or you're not going to find it in the future. At some point, you recognize that you can only find it here and now. And the only requisite for it is that you're open to experience this moment fully. And as simple as this may seem, hopefully you understand that in the practice, this looks like, in the beginning, like, no, that's impossible. And that's exactly why I'm making this video. I want to make you feel and make you understand that this is actually a possibility for you. And it comes with way more perks than you could ever imagine. And to the point that if you immerse yourself and you live your life and you move your body and you think from that wide open, peaceful perspective of this moment, you will come to realize that you have everything you ever needed. You're free, and then everything is fine already.